Council, and ask Jeff Griffin to stand here. And Jeff, if I could, if you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jeff Griffin,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office
that I will faithfully execute the office
of Mayor of the City of Seminole,
of Mayor of the City of Seminole,
as well as Chairman
as well as Chairman
for the following:
for the following:
Seminole Utilities Authority,
Seminole Utilities Authority,
Seminole Gas Authority,
Seminole Gas Authority,
the Seminole Airport
and
Authority.
Seminole Airport.
And I will do the best of my ability
And I will do the best of my ability
to preserve, protect, and defend
to preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Charter of the City of Seminole.
and the Charter of the City of Seminole.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor. And now for the rank and file. Is that right? So, for the council, I would just ask all of you, if you would, to stand since we're swearing in the council. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, we'll put you in there too. Just so you're good to go. Yeah, you're good. You can sit. If everybody raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I,
You solemnly swear
swear
that I will faithfully execute the office
that I will faithfully execute the office
of Seminole City Council member,
of Seminole City Council member,
as well as authority member
as well as authority member
for the Seminole Utilities Authority,
for Seminole Utilities Authority,
Seminole Gas Authority,
Seminole Gas Authority,
Seminole Airport Authority,
Seminole Airport Authority,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Charter of the City of Seminole.
and the Charter of the City of Seminole.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. You got a green light to do this, Mr. Mayor? I'll collect those here when you're done this.
Do I get one?
We might need one.
Okay.
I'll find it
Okay. I didn't know if you were trying to tell me something. Get my hopes up. You were. Got my brother,
Thought you were sick or something, Steve. You've been sick or just been busy?
Well, my client died of the last council meeting, and I was going to
Sure. Oh, by all means, yeah.
All right, with that, I will call to order the Seminole Airport Authority. Roll call, please, Jim.
Stephanie Lambert,
Here.
Bill Wantland,
Here.
Tim Poplar,
Here.
Steve Patterson,
Here.
John Kramer, Chris Anson,
Here.
Larry Church,
Here.
Corey Crabtree,
Here.
Jeff Griffin.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Consideration and action of consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jim.
Stephanie Lambert,
Yes.
Bill Wantland,
Yes.
Tim Poplar,
Yes.
Steve Patterson,
Yes.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Corey Crabtree,
Yes.
Jeff Griffin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Do we have any appearances or petitions from the audience for the airport authority? Okay, with none here, I would attend the motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Call to order the Seminole Gas Authority. Roll call, please, Jim.
John Kramer, Tim Poplar,
Here.
Steve Patterson,
Here.
Bill Wantland,
Here.
Corey Crabtree,
Here.
Stephanie Lambert,
Here.
Larry Church,
Sure.
Chris Anson,
Here.
Jeff Griffin.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Consideration and action of consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Dee Patterson.
Yes.
Bill Waltman.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Jeff Griffin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Do we have any appearances or petitions from the audience for the gas authority? Okay, with none, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Call to order the meeting of the Seminole Utilities Authority. Roll call, please, Jay.
Dee Patterson.
Here.
John Kramer. Chris Anson.
Here.
Bill Waltman.
Here.
Corey Crabtree.
Here.
Tim Poplin.
Here.
Stephanie Lambert.
Here.
Larry Church.
Here.
Jeff Griffin.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Consideration and action of consent agenda. Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Dee
Oh.
Patterson.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Bill Waltman.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Jeff Griffin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Do we have any appearances or petitions from the audience for the utilities? Moving on, we'll move into bids. Number one, consideration and possible action to solicit sealed bids for the water line to serve the new hotel at the corner of Milt Phillips and Rainbow Boulevard.
So we've received some of the preliminary plans, we've got some of the, I call it utility structure plans, and we're ready to fire. It looks like everything is green lighted and on go, with the possible exception of one of the addendum items that we're going to discuss next probably. I think we've got a great water supply at that corner. It just doesn't reach across to where the construction is going to be for the new hotel. So our strategy is to bore under the highway, provide that 10-inch main across the highway, which will provide them with plenty of water volume. Now, the question remains, the most recent plan that we received is actually 4 stories. So it takes a lot of water pressure to fire sprinkler 4 stories. So we don't have enough information yet from the MEP plan, the engineering and mechanical plan. So we don't know exactly if it's going to take a pressure sustaining pump, such as what we have out by Good Hope to supply the airport area. But we know that we're going to have plenty of water once we do this project. So we're advocating on behalf of you guys allowing us to go out for bids for this project. This is something that you guys have discussed in the budget.
Question. Mr. Saxon, where's the water line? Is it on the north side or the south side? It's on the north side of 9?
Yes, it's right next to Braun's.
Where will the bore be?
I'll assume it's going to be right there near the hydrant. Mike, we'll have it engineered, of course, but would you agree with that?
Yeah, we'll board at the hydrant, set another hydrant on the other side of the road with the stub outs, and then we'll go north about 600 feet and tie into the 8-inch line.
So would this be fed from a water tower in the
It's fed
industrial
both
park?
ways, yes.
Fed both ways.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Dee Patterson.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Bill Waltman.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Jeff Griffin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We'll move on to current business. Item 2, consideration and possible action regarding pressurizing the new water supply line at the intersection of Highway 9 and 99 at a cost not to exceed $100,000. This is an unbudgeted item to be funded from Series 2010 revenue bond proceeds.
So as I mentioned, we're not quite there. This was put on the addendum in hopes that we would have enough information for you guys to act upon. It doesn't look like we're going to receive that in the next 2 minutes, so we're going to ask that you table this, and we'll bring it back to you if and when it becomes necessary.
Move the table.
Second.
Can we do a group yes on that since it's a table? All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, with that being all business, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
With that, I would call to order the Seminole City Council meeting. Roll call, please, Jay.
Chris Anson,
Here.
Steve Patterson,
Here.
Stephanie Lambert,
Here.
Larry Church,
Here.
Tim Poplin,
Here.
Bill Waltland,
Here.
Corey Crabtree,
Here.
John Kramer, Jeff Griffin.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Isaga misi mishka hanga gigodai, mukasaka de kuchi de meno moment for Tolova Seminole, moment posti morgan. Itinoki chikidis, momachimis saga misi anakiskas. God, whose mercies cannot be numbered, accept our prayer of thanks for the city of Seminole and for all our people. Let us love one another, for you, God, our love. Amen.
Amen.
Consideration and action of consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Steve Patterson,
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Tim Poplin,
Yes.
Bill Waltland,
Yes.
Corey Crabtree,
Yes.
John Kramer. I'm sorry, motion passes.
Any appearances or petitions from the audience for the Seminole City Council? Yes, ma'am.
I don't know who really except Mike to thank for the railroad track. We haven't been down there to see it. We need to go down there and see the work that they have done, and they haven't finished it yet. And Mike, I know you look good.
You're mighty
Like we had something to do. Thank all of you.
Thank you. And it does look amazing. All right, we'll move on to resolutions. Item 1, consideration and possible action to approve resolution number 2019-04, a resolution declaring May as Fair Housing Month for the city of Seminole.
Move to approve. Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Steve Patterson,
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Tim Poplin,
Yes.
Bill Waltland,
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 2, consideration and possible action to approve resolution number 2019-05, a resolution to provide retention of attorneys to address opioid epidemic.
Not sure what that means.
Well, I think I mentioned last meeting that we were considering joining a lawsuit with McAfee and Taft as our lawyers to pursue some of the pharmaceutical companies
Oh, I remember now.
that had perhaps misrepresented some of the critical information that people needed to know and have become addicted. It's been a tremendous drain on our resources, trying to deal not only with police issues, but health and safety of our citizens. So there are several other communities that have already joined this lawsuit with McAfee Taft as the law firm, and they're doing it on a contingency basis. So it's not like we've got a lot of exposure on this. So I would recommend that you guys allow us to pursue this further.
You have any idea what it's going to cost on our behalf?
Are you talking about how much the city of Seminole will actually pay out for legal fees? Brad, help me out here. I'm thinking that it'll be minimal. I'm thinking in terms of like filing costs at courthouses for, $150, $300. But in terms of fees for attorneys, they're doing it on a contingency basis. So they're not going to collect anything unless there's a settlement or a trial that awards a settlement.
Move to approve.
Isn't one of the risks, though, that they find in favor of the defendant, and we have to pay fees for attorney in that part? One risk that we have,
Yes.
very minimal, but it is
Yes.
one of the risks.
This is a class action lawsuit that, to be honest with you, none of us will probably be sitting here time they finish it, but, if we prevail, if they prevail, the costs would be included anyway in it, the fees and costs. So I don't, this is on the opioid epidemic, so I think you're pretty well safe on this one, in my opinion, so. But to answer your question, yes, I mean, you could end up having to pay some.
Have you heard on Bloomberg, like a week ago, that one of the manufacturers, and I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, that was found guilty for the state of Oklahoma and one other state, but they said that the suit was filed from OSU. Do y'all know anything about that?
Yes, Mike kind of.
That's not what we're,
It is, it's a very similar case, but we're drilling down into the local impacts of what it has cost us. So there'll likely be some time where I have to go give testimony in terms of what has our police department been faced with, what, in terms of ambulance runs and EODs, overdoses, those sorts of things that we can't recover that unless there's a settlement.
is that a different fund than what was awarded? to
Yes.
OSU? Okay. Thank you.
I'll make a motion with approve.
Second?
Roll call, please, Jack.
Chris Hansen,
Yes.
Dee Dee Patterson,
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Bill Wantland.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Current business, item 3, consideration and possible action to approve the representation and fee agreement with McAfee and Taft, attorneys to provide legal services in the city's cause of action as defendants against certain opioid manufacturing distributors and potentially other third parties.
How is this different?
It's not,
Same
just
thing.
ask that you pass it, with, on condition of staff review, and we'll make sure everything is done, we've already looked at it,
Yeah.
but it's fine.
Right, one's a resolution, one's authorizing the contract signing.
Move to approve.
Second?
Roll call, please, Jack.
Chris Hansen,
Yes.
Dee Dee Patterson,
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Bill Wantland.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 4, consideration and possible action to approve renewing the 2019-2020 contract with the Seminole County for the Seminole Police Department to house inmates at the Seminole County Detention Center. The contract is unchanged from the previous year.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Chris Hansen,
Yes.
Dee Dee Patterson.
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Bill Wantland.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 5, consideration and possible action to elect a president of the council to preside at all meetings of the council in the absence of the mayor.
We have to approve it first and then put in our nomination.
We nominate, is that what we do?
You're, I
Isn't
think
that
that you
Bill's,
have to nominate
I nominate Bill
among
Wantland.
yourselves.
isn't that Bill's job?
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
We don't like
I
change.
second
No.
that, yeah.
Everybody in favor of Bill, say aye.
Bill's it. Are we good with doing that?
I didn't hear any nays.
Okay, everyone in favor?
Okay.
Or all the yeses, all right. Congratulations, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Item 6, discussion and possible action regarding utilizing the city's mass notification system to remind citizens about elections.
Motion to approve.
Yes.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Chris Hansen,
Yes.
Dee Dee Patterson,
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Bill Wantland.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree. Yes. Motion passes.
Item 7, consideration and possible action regarding options for public swimming opportunities at Seminole State College.
We have been visiting with the college for a couple of months. Initially, our plan was to provide a lump sum for a long-term swimming ability for the summer months. Mike and our guys went out and kind of looked over the situation with the condition of the pool. We knew that there was that they would need to upgrade some of the piping. That some of the pumps were new, but the lines that those were pumping into were in poor condition. We're not exactly sure what it looks like underneath the pool. The diving boards needed to be replaced. And certain areas would need to be upgraded. Some of the restrooms would need to be upgraded. So our initial plan was to provide a lump sum, and I don't want to project what that might have been, but something to help the college recondition the pool and allow our citizens to have summer swimming rights at the college pool. Once we were able to review it, I don't think that it's going to be cost feasible for us to do the rehabilitation of the pool. There is some argument among our staff as to whether or not people would want to swim indoors in the summer months anyway. So I'm bringing this to you. I very seldom put open-ended or try to put open-ended topics in front of you, but we're kind of stuck on where you guys want us to go. So if you could give me a directive or some direction for what you want us to achieve. You'll recall that last year we looked at the Grisso Mansion and they just couldn't turn the water enough with enough chemical to provide for a long-term public swimming venue. So that one was out. The only option we've got left is some kind of a deal structure with the college. Obviously, we would be paying for the staffing of the facility. We're still not entirely sure about the concession at the college if we were to strike a deal, because they've got a contract with, I forget the vendor, to provide all concessions on campus. So that was kind of one of the carrots that we used to attract a pool manager. So I need help, and is this something that you guys want me to? I'll be meeting with Lana on another subject early morning, and I can probably approach this as well. If you guys direct me to go strike a deal, we can probably come up with something soon, but I need to kind of have some parameters. What are you guys thinking?
Well, we're waiting for you to invite us to your house.
It's our city attorney.
It's a plastic turtle in the back of my 3-year-olds out of it.
Steve doesn't have a pool anymore.
It's still kind of open-ended in the fact that we don't really know how much it's going to cost. So, I mean, I think if you can pursue a little more, maybe we can identify what the cost might be, or a rough estimate, to where we might be able to, I think, come up with a plan. I think it's a little open-ended to ask that. Mike, do you have any input on that? No? Okay.
I did part
Be
of
nice.
it. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did check in on refurbishing the pipes that were underground in case they had to be refurbished. From what we seen on the outside, they were pitted, and I wouldn't touch them with it because I'd be afraid they'd fall over. That's just the ones we could see. So if that's the ones we can see, I would hate to think what it looks like underground. So I called a company that can come in and refurbish them, but you know, we're looking in excess of $100,000 for just refurbishing the underground pipes. It's not an easy. The other case is you go in there and cut them up, cut the concrete, take them up, and we've been there and done that, and it's expensive also.
So, if I understand what we're after here is, yes, you would like to see our citizens have access to the college pool during the summer months. Obviously, it's an indoor pool. And then I'll try to come up with a cost figure for what the college may charge. Go ahead, Chris.
Is this going to be something we can do every summer until we're able to build a new pool? Or is this just a one-time thing and we're going to spend that much money?
I think I heard you. So that was my strategy with the first deal, is pay a lump sum so we could get 5 years or 3 years. But I wanted some level of confidence that that money would be put into the refurbishment of the existing pool. I'm not sure that it's going to last 3 years or 5 years, so that would have been one of the caveats. But once we started getting some cost numbers back, it was out of our price range, or I felt like it was out of our price range that I could come to you and recommend. So I guess the answer is, if you want to look at something in the neighborhood of 200,000-ish for a 3 to 5 year contract, I think that's probably something that we could look at, with the caveat being that that money needs to be turned back into renovation of the pool area. And I threw that out irresponsibly because I'm not sure that's an accurate number, but based upon the fact that just the piping alone would be in the 100,000. And as you know, in all renovation projects, once you get into it, there's a change order coming. It's automatic, because you can't see what you can't see, and those are very expensive issues to fix on the fly. So hopefully I've framed it up enough for you guys to help me. If that's something that you want me to pursue, yes, we can get there.
Did we ever get underneath our pool to find out exactly, or to find out what's going on there? I mean, I know we talked about scrapping it, and that's pretty much the decision, but I don't know.
Oh, the existing pool?
Yes.
Can we live it through the summer?
I don't even have a plan A for that. Mrs. Emmett, do you have a plan A for that?
For the existing pool,
Yes.
don't use it? No, I don't.
How much was it leaking at the end? 80,000 gallons? Mike, do you remember 80,000 gallons how often?
Before the pipe blew,
Yes,
it was about 80,000 gallons a day.
Yes.
day.
Yep, yes.
so, and there was no evidence where that water was going. That leads us to believe that there must have been some erosion somewhere underneath that pool.
We knew there was erosion. There was sand in the creek. You know, there's really not a question there, because I think it's hollow underneath from what Mr. Grant said. Washed all that sand down the creek, tried to put water in it. You're talking about losing lives, kids get in there and the bottom fall out of it. I don't even think we can go down that road.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's just from what I put together with the information that was given to us.
I would not recommend that to you
I
guys.
think for 200,000, we could just about buy a little swimming pool from Walmart for every family that has a
Open some fire hydrants.
We'd be better off putting that 200,000 towards building us a new pool in a year or two.
Yeah.
you know, as badly as I want.
Rent a house or buy a house.
I feel the same, as badly as what I wanted, you know, to get the kids who don't have a place to swim, a place to swim.
The wellness center pond. Diving board and a little sand we got going on.
That's not an official statement to the Department of Environmental Quality, but I understand where we're going.
find a couple, we can set up a big water slide.
Oh, we got the water park.
So I'll visit with Lana to see on a short-term deal what it would take for this summer. And then what would you like to see happen long-term? Do you want to visit with our swimming pool expert that came the last time, talked about what it would take new construction-wise? Are we ready to restart that engine, or what? Where do I go from here?
So, I have a question on, there was a committee that was meeting on this, and I don't remember, I'll use the fact that I wasn't on during the summer, but I don't remember if they came up with the size and an idea, and, you know, I don't know if there's a minimal size for the number of kids that we have typically over the summer. I believe there were options for all different types of water features, but I think maybe we need to be revised of what maybe they come up with, or maybe even some different sizes, minimal sizes that we think would work for maybe some of the kids, and kind of identify that as a starting point, maybe moving forward.
Okay?
I agree with you there.
So the plan is do a short-term deal with the college, or attempt to, and bring in our pool expert to repitch to the committee and perhaps the council about the size, the cost that we can look at, and then I'll present at the same time to the council financial possibility or solutions. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, we'll move on to item 8. Consideration and possible action to approve the proposal letter from Traffic Engineering Consultants, Inc. for engineering services at a cost not to exceed $38,060 for 2 proposed roundabouts, one located at the intersection of Bourne Boulevard and Strother Avenue, and the other located west of Harvey Road on US 270A. Cost of the engineering services is an unbudgeted item to be funded from Series 2010 revenue bond proceeds.
Okay, so some has changed since this has been put on the agenda. First of all, for our crowd, there are some pictures of the proposed roundabouts up here on the corner. If you're interested, take one of those home with you. If you have any questions, feel free to call us. So in this picture, you will see what we're proposing at the corner of Strother and Bourne Boulevard, and also out near the old bowling alley, also known as Willis Number 1 used to be. I hate doing that. I'm trying to get you to where we're at. Out on Harvey Road and the intersection of Highway 3, we are looking at another roundabout. The mission, of course, is to deplete the truck traffic from getting on to what we know as Broadway and Bourne Boulevard. The reason that is necessary is because the state of Oklahoma is going to be doing a major upgrade or overlay, and reconstruction of certain sections through Broadway and Bourne Boulevard. After they complete the project, they intend to put that back into the city's inventory. So they will become, my words, residential streets. Mike doesn't like that. He likes other words, but residential streets is important for me to understand what we're trying to do. The reason that we're not capable of keeping the streets the way they are, Bourne and Broadway, is because it's going to cost roughly $2 to $4 million every 2 to 4 years to overlay those roads with the current truck traffic. That's about what it takes for ODOT to do them now. Clearly, we cannot afford to put our entire street budget plus some into 2 streets. So we've got to take an alternate. And the only real feasible thing to do, in my opinion, is to do traffic calming measures such as a roundabout or two, to keep trucks from going in that direction. So, yes, we could probably do stop signs every 300 feet and turn it into, you know, kind of a stop. I mean, the trucks would not go down that road. The other consideration is, do we continue to sign these roads and say no through truck traffic? Well, we know from, like today, there was a truck parked right in front of McDonald's with a big sign that said, no parking on the shoulder. And they park on the shoulder almost every day, and they get out of their trucks and go into McDonald's, grab a biscuit or whatever. So we know that signage is not effective. So our proposal is to build the roundabouts, or to start at least investigating the roundabouts. PEC is one of probably the most respected traffic engineering firm in Oklahoma. On the agenda item tonight, we're asking that you authorize us to engage them to make a overall plan for our city, to be able to get the truck routes right. And then we will, once that happens, we will come back to you, and I probably could have agended it tonight, to engage Wall Engineering, so that at the same time that they're doing the truck study and signage study, Wall Engineering can be doing the construction plan. So here's what I believe is going to happen. All right, so nobody else gets the blame but me. I've been surprised by ODOT more times than I can count, but here's what I think is going to happen. I think that the section from the new high school to First United Bank at the corner of 99 and 270 will be phase one of this project, the overlay project. That will begin on or about May the 6th. And they love embarrassing me, so if they show up tomorrow, that's the latest information I had. I'm sorry. If they start May the 6th, I'm guessing that they do them really quick. And I'm not going to give you how many days it'll take them, but it'll be more in terms of a few weeks rather than months. At that point, they will want us to take that section of road. So from the new, from, let's say, Roma's Restaurant to the First United Bank, they will ask us to take that as a residential street. So we're on very limited time here. We need to be moving quicker than we probably can be, to make some sort of a traffic calming system. This is the first thing that needs to happen, is we need to gauge PEC so that everybody's clear and they get us in good standing in terms of signage, be able to tell the trucks that, and they know what to look for. We'll be able to sign it so they'll know the truck routes. In addition, I've provided a letter, and we have mailed these to everyone that we knew of. This went out to all the trucking firms that we knew of in the area. I think Jay ended up with 38 or 39 firms that we knew operated trucks in the area. So we're talking about Tiger Trucks, DeLisi, Bison, good grief, 38 of them. I won't try to name them all, but so especially concerned about the companies that lay along Bourne Boulevard and further out, Ronnie Allison Trucking, Blue Wave Boats. Those folks needed to know, oh, wait a minute, you're going to throw up a roadblock in front of our business. How are we going to get there? Well, you'll recall in your infinite wisdom, you guys have made basically an industrial bypass around Blue Wave. That was all built in industrial spec. So the plan is that if they're going to Blue Wave Boats or Ronnie Allison, they will use Ideal Street and be able to use Broadway as it extends beyond, I don't know if that's called the crazy curve, I don't think it is, but the curve that goes between Broadway and Bourne. If you go straight near the housing authority, that is all industrial road. It was built to industrial spec. So the plan is that they will have access, local truck access. Obviously, a brick truck is not going to want to go that direction because there's too many stops and it's a little inconvenient. But we are going to be able to get goods to our other businesses. So what we've done in this letter, we explained that, hey, we're going to have 3 meetings. Please come. Any one of these meetings, they're welcome to speak at and air out whatever they need to say. The first meeting will be on April the 15th, and I believe that's a Monday. We're going to have that at 6 o'clock right here on April the 15th to orient the companies that drive trucks through Seminole. So we're going to basically crack this open to say, hey, here's what we're doing. We know that the signs won't work. We're going to be talking about a roundabout. So they'll be able to have a good discussion. I'm sure they'll have some other alternatives that maybe we didn't think about, and we'll approach those and try to get that ironed out. On May the 1st at 6 p.m. at the Reynolds Wellness Center, we'll actually pitch what PEC comes up with. We will have truck routes. We will have, I call it a Department of Transportation style meeting where we've got various tables that these truck drivers can, or companies can walk around and sit down in front of a map and some person that can tell them, how am I going to get my Weaver trucking, Beaver trucking, into my business and out? So we will have specific and develop specific exit strategies and ingress strategies for them. So they'll have answers when they leave that May 1st. And then last meeting will be on May the 7th. May the 7th will be in front of the Planning Commission, and they will approve or deny the truck routes proposed by the PEC. So 2 things are going to be happening. We're going to have the PEC engineering firm developing truck routes. We're going to educate our truck drivers and their firms and have everybody okay as much as possible with the plan. And then at the same time, we're going to be engineering the roundabouts in case that is the plan, because we're on a short fuse. We almost need to be doing them simultaneously. Do the engineering for the construction so that right on the heels of that engineering being completed and getting the input from the truck driving public, that we can engage a construction firm to build the roundabouts if that becomes the final solution. So, back to your agenda item. I kind of veered off a little bit. I apologize, but I think everybody needed to know the whole plan. The PEC is the first thing to drop. We've got to have a good truck route planning firm come in and engineer this for us.
Hey Steve, April the 15th, you said it's here?
Yes.
Okay.
Why?
I thought on your notes it was at the Reynolds Wellness Center.
No. Well, you're thinking of the first draft. This is the one that actually went to the truck driving firms. So it's on the April the 15th at 6 p.m. Seminole Public Library.
Steve, one of those roundabouts, as you call it, what do they plan on putting in the center of it?
Well, there's.
Give an exit for hope.
Say again, Dee Dee? Is it a cost?
No, I haven't given it.
Oh, any thought?
Yeah.
Yes. There's been a lot of discussion in the staff, and all of us, well, Mike and I have been calling other communities, talking to them about, well, what does it take? The bottom line is it's going to have to be a substantial structure because trucks will test it. And so at a minimum in the short term, it's going to have to be something that is impenetrable.
A big statue.
I was thinking that, the mayor.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Ron Tucker.
Hey, Mayor. How's that?
It's gotta be easily repaired.
I've lived in areas where they had these back in the old days, probably thirties and forties, and they work great.
Yeah.
They really do, once people get used to it. So it's just a matter of the person on the right has the right way.
Right.
You feel right at the same time.
Mhm.
Back to the old rules, old school rules.
Yeah.
Well, we could let it out as, you know, some sort of art. Some sort of piece of art, that has a massive base, concrete base on it,
Big water fountain.
pedestal, you know, like.
Absolutely. You guys will make all those decisions. My input is that I think in the short term, while people are learning and the trucks are learning that they can't pass, that it would have to be kind of ugly and impenetrable. Now, long term, I would hope that we can do something more artistic and something that more represents who we are. So, absolutely.
We can put the pedestal up first.
Well, the reason I brought up the center, you want something that doesn't require maintenance. Whatever that is, believe me, you don't wanna keep grass growing
And easily repaired, easily repaired also.
Yeah.
I've been stressing that.
The communities we talked to said, whatever you do, make it easily repairable. They will run into it and regularly, so.
Settle the drill pipe, Dee Dee.
Well, back to the, don't we need to do a motion?
Yeah, I have
Yes,
one
thank
question.
you.
I have one question.
Okay.
So how far in advance, I know signage will be there, but how far in advance is it the state that will, I don't know how they tell trucks what routes to take. I do know there are trucks that travel across 99, go to Bourne Boulevard, and then go south instead of taking US 377 through Seminole. And I see it not on a daily basis, but once or twice a week at least. So you have your bypass now, you're gonna lose it. But how far in advance, or how do they get notified that is no longer a truck route? So they don't do it, because that's what we're gonna run into. And I know a sign, that's why we need this done rather quickly. But they're gonna get to the corner and go, we don't have a place to go. I mean, I saw one have to back up in the intersection, and you had 20 cars backed up all around Ford, so it could be a nightmare.
Well, that particular driver probably only backed up once.
Can we not?
I mean, seriously, you know, give notification, and then they just have to
But
count
these-
on escorting some people.
Yeah, but these are
Well, they
guys
like
that are
that.
traveling across state lines, I mean, they're not local.
So-
Can we not put that welcome thing in the Seminole over the road that's low, that only cars can go under?
Again, we want some trucks to be able to get through there.
And I mean,
Tall boat, I mean, those boats can get pretty tall, and we want them to be able to pass through to their businesses.
well, give it a secret key that makes it rain.
I mean, the hospital has.
Have a garage door opener that they can.
Air under the tires.
I think that's what he's talking about. The study's gonna answer all these questions. He's just wanting an okay for the study.
Yeah.
You know, we can go on all kinds of tangents here, but that's not where we're at.
So,
So I haven't had
exactly.
dinner
So-
either, and as pertains to number 8, I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Chris Hansen,
Yes.
Steve Patterson,
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Bill Waltman.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, we'll move on to reports. So since mayor's first, I'll go ahead and proceed there. I'm gonna be greedy this time to go first. So I'll ask our city manager. So I'll go back to the notification I'll ask the question on the notification of trucks heading down there. Is there a site they go to?
yes.
Okay.
ODOT will handle all that. In fact, ODOT is going to pay for the signage on the truck routes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks. All right, well, I will start mine. First, I want to thank everybody that voted in our election. I realize it appears there was some confusion, but I do appreciate everyone that got out to vote. For me, that is one of the greatest rights we have as U.S. citizens, is to be able to get out and cast our vote. So thank you to everyone that got out and voted. I'm excited about being mayor of Seminole, my hometown. And, you know, there's a lot of good things that are going on currently. I hear sometimes people say there's not, but they're not really getting out and looking at what's going on. The new high school, you know, we have a hotel coming into town. Now, Casey's is still, I think, a great asset that we've had that's been here a little bit, but it's something that I think adds, hopefully, is pulling in tax dollars from those driving through the city, and I think it's a great thing. But, you know, for us to move forward, we all have to work together. And, you know, that means that we need to be able to address concerns that we have as citizens. And so, you know, I want to hear those things. I don't want to, not that it's bad, but I'm not necessarily looking for, I have a pothole in front of my house. I mean, we have council members for that. We have others for that. I really want to hear good ideas on what we can do to improve Seminole. You know, I want to hear what concerns our citizens. You know, what are the top 3 things that concern our citizens? What are 3 things we need to improve on as a city? And that's really how we work on our problems, is to identify what's most important to our citizens, come together, work on those problems, and then move on to the next ones. And so I'm asking for everyone's help and advice and thoughts on that, on improving Seminole and the growth that we've had. Let's continue that. You know, that's really my goal of being mayor. You know, I love my hometown. I want to be able to give back, and that's the only reason I'm here, is so we can make Seminole better. We have a great group of council members that work together. We don't always agree, but you know what? We're all striving for the same thing, and you can't ask for any more than that. So I enjoyed serving with them before as a council member, and I'm sure I will as mayor. Mike, I don't know if you had a hand in this, but thank you if you did. The intersection at Highway 9 and 99, the way the lights work, is great. It's the best they've ever been. You know, it is so smooth. Whatever they did to change up, I don't know if they reprogrammed it, but it really works nice. So you get all the credit for that.
Hey,
I
Mike.
think I was directed to do that by the council.
So we had the Made in Oklahoma event Saturday. Unfortunately, we had some weather, but I hear there was a great turnout beforehand. Amy, congratulations. I was able to show up after the rain, and there were still people milling around, vendors still selling stuff, so that was great. You know, those are the types of things we need in Seminole and continuing to support, because that's activity. You know, actually, one of our council members had a booth there. I was not able to do that. I had a prior commitment, and you know, so hopefully everybody got his name and phone number, so they'll be calling him on everything. So
I have some potholes to report.
Right. So with that, I will hand it off to our city manager.
Let's go with, I'm still making notes on things to talk about. Congratulations, Dolores, on your railroad right-of-way clearing. You're the way it's supposed to work. You come every time and you express what you would like to see Seminole do, and eventually we got you there. Brad Carter did.
Get like that anymore.
Yeah, let's hope. Brad Carter did a tremendous job with the railroad people. Mike and Raymond and all of our city crews, I think, did excellent work thus far. And Mike hit me up for an extra $1,500 for spray to keep that thing knocked down. So we're going to do what we can. I can't promise you that it's always going to look like a park with beautiful Bermuda grass, but we're going to do what we can. At least we've got control of it so that we can do something now. So congratulations to you. My phone went dead on me. Here we go. Matt left. Matt Pollock is the Wellness Center director. We just got out of a meeting with those folks, and for the first time that I can recall, we're actually in the green. And I attribute that to the operator, and I can't thank him enough, and his staff seems to be enjoying themselves. The morale is at an all-time high. The users of that facility have a smile, and they seem to be happy. Doesn't mean that we don't ever have challenges. We had one young man swinging by one of the goals when it was lowered, and broke that dude. So we've got challenges, but I think we've got the right man at the helm, and he's doing a great job. One of the things that I'm going to come in the budget meetings with, and I'd like for you to think about it in advance, is social media and what's going on in Seminole and the impact that it has upon our attitude as we walk through the streets. And I think we're to a point in our existence that social media is for a large part of our society the way people digest news. And I'm thinking along the lines of us hiring a social media person, an IT/social media person who can get our positive message out there and answer some of the negativity. Sometimes yes, sometimes bad things happen, and we want to be accountable for that, but we have to be able to respond. And what has become the new normal in the news cycle is 24 hours, man. You telling me you didn't know that? That was on Facebook last night. So it becomes more important that we not wait till the next city council meeting to answer what was on Facebook last month, because it becomes reality. Perception is reality, and I think we're going to have to get to a point that we answer on social media platforms and begin to put out our positive message. And here's why. I got a call last week from one of our industries in town. This person was in another state, and they were recruiting 3 new employees. Each of these employees was key to their operation. And these are very high wage jobs and people that we want. Those jobs need to be staying and living in Seminole. And he called me in a semi-panic, and he said, man, you got to send me something. I got to have some positivity. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, the wives or the spouses of these people are on the internet, and all they're finding is negative junk about Seminole. And they're getting on local Facebook pages and our Facebook pages, and all they're seeing is the negative stuff that's happening in Seminole. And it kind of drove home the point that we've got to have someone in a position that can respond intelligently and immediately and get our message out there that, yes, we're getting brand new highway through town, and it's going to look great. We're going to possibly get roundabouts. We've upgraded our cemetery. I mean, I can go on, and I did for this manager. I sent him a full page and a half of great things that are going on in Seminole. And he was like, wow, why aren't we putting this out there? Why isn't this on the front page instead of buried where nobody can see it? Because I need my potential employees to be able to find this. So it drove home the point that we're going to have to start banging the drum, or we're going to continue to not look good in the eyes of outsiders. So, and I would take it so far as to say it affects the insiders as well. When you're bombarded with negativity and bad things that are going on, sometimes you lose sight of some of the things that are happening right there, but it's not in writing, so you're not paying as much attention to it. So I think it's important, and I think it's something that maybe you guys would support. So I'm going to bring that up. Along those lines, one of the things that as we evolve, and I'm kind of on the upper end of this age group, but as we have evolved into an internet society, more and more people Their only source is the internet. And one of the most popular websites for studying communities is called niche.com, NICHE.com. And every time I talk about this, I expect that somebody will go to that website and give us a 5-star review. As of today, there have been 10 reviews of Seminole, and I've spoken in front of 300 people asking them to help. That is one of the sites that these families went to look at Seminole. And if we don't advertise ourselves, nobody's going to do it for us. We've got to get on niche.com and say Seminole is the absolute best place to raise your family in the whole world. And here's why. And that is included on that niche.com website. And they end up grading us. They give us a grade, A through F. And if you've not been on that website, I need your help. We need your help, because these people that are looking at Seminole pay attention to that. That is, I don't know if you're on Yelp. I use Yelp. If you're going to a restaurant, you're in a different community, you automatically get on Yelp to find the best restaurant in the community. This is the same thing that families are using to find their new homes. Niche.com is a big deal. I need your help. Give Seminole a 5-star rating, and I'll leave that alone. The mayor's giving me the hook here. I also had the intersection lights at Brahms. They look great. Good job. Farmers Market will be kicking off here just as soon as the vegetables start kicking in. I think we'll have a great new venue down at the old Aero Supply next to Don Ciro's. Looks great. We've spent a lot of money from the Urban Renewal Authority. Thank you again for supporting them financially, giving them the money to do things like that. Looks great on the inside. If you haven't had a chance, give me a call. We'll get you in there. You need to take a tour, and the farmers are going to love it. Lastly, just this afternoon, we got an email that we're going to be, that a lawsuit has been filed by the alleged victim of Zach Dennis against us. So I'll put that on for an executive session at some point, but I did want to get that out to you that that'll be proceeding. I know that the Municipal Assurance Group will have us covered, but I just wanted to let you guys know. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ward 1, Bill Law.
I have nothing to add to what has been said. In spite of what may have been bad publicity in a few places, this is still the best place to be.
It absolutely is.
Ward 1, Larry Church.
I was just sitting here wondering what your hashtag is going to be. You can start tweeting, but the master of you could be our master of controlling the media, maybe.
All right.
The real master, of course, is in the White House, probably the news cycle. Last time, well, as always, I want to emphasize our best investment for the future is women and girls. We'll struggle along as far as our society goes and our overall happiness and welfare, as long as women are emancipated. Last time I mentioned that a woman in our society makes about 80%. That's kind of the high end of what people say. That's up from 75% in 1970 or something like that. And so there's some improvement, and at that rate, in about 200 years, they'll be on the same footing. I mean, you can plot this out on the graph sheet. At the rate that we're going, 200 years, maybe. We can do better than that, and we can do that locally. I employ people. I think the women that work with me make a better wage than they can make working anywhere else. It's not a hard thing to do, and it's not as expensive as you might think it would be. But I think it's incumbent upon us to help single women with children and invest in women and girls. Thank you.
Ward 4, Chris Hansen. Why? I changed this up so you have.
Everybody's already said that.
All right, Ward 4, Dee Dee Patterson.
And I'd like to ask Mike to look into Bill Street. I've had some complaints and they do need some rugged care. So, there's a lot of failures in the concrete and so on there. So if you look at it, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Ward 2, Stephanie Lane.
I'd like to thank Corey Crabtree for giving people in my ward my cell phone number.
Call the right person.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And that's the same thing too, it was a complaint on Lincoln Street, we've had some of those complaints, but I forwarded them on, and thank you, Steve, for helping me with those, and of course, John. But everything looks good, I love the iron fence at Maple Grove Cemetery, it looks really good. I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about how wonderful it looks now. There's not a lot of trash caught up in it, it looks really good. It's nice on the drive to school, but thank you guys. And thank you guys for coming today, because it's gonna be people like you that help, you become a better mayor.
Thank you. Ward 3, Tim Poplar.
I really don't have anything, but Jeff, congratulations, you did a great job today. It couldn't get any better. One quick thing that I would like to say is, I went to the ceremony that our city attorney had, Mr. Carter, for his recognition for being was it a full-blown, what they call it? Full bird. But anyway, yeah, full bird. But anyway, the turnout that he had was amazing. That told me that how much he was appreciated, not only for the service that he does for our country, but as a person for our community. I mean, it was standing room only. And I just wanted to bring that up. Congratulations, Brad. It's really amazing how many people show up when you have free food. I know, congratulations.
Ward 3.
Oh, excuse me.
Ward 3, Corey Crabtree.
Well, I was gonna be the first one to say welcome aboard, but you went out of order, so welcome aboard. That's all I have to say.
All right, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.